students, today we will learn about the double fertilization. Okay, double fertilization. Acha. Do you remember what is nucellus? I had told you. Do you remember the word nucellus that I had told you? That ovule contains a mass of thin-walled nutritive parenchymatous cells. Ovule contains a mass of thin parenchymatous cell better to say thin walled. Ovule contains a mass of thin walled parenchymatous cell which is known as nucellus. Okay, which is known as nucellus. Now what happens during double fertilization? On piercing the nucellus, what happens, you know? The pollen tube penetrates the embryo sac. Okay, and it reaches the egg apparatus. Achha, one thing to mention it primarily that that on I have written it. You see, on piercing the nucellus, the pollen tube penetrates the embryo sac and reaches the egg. Its tip actually. Achha, let me to clarify it very well. Penetrates the embryo sac. Then not to write this one. It's penetrate the embryo sac. Then what happens? Its tip penetrates in the embryo sac and reaches egg apparatus and synergids or between one synergids and wall of embryo sac. Then ultimately what happens? Ultimately the tip of pollen tube bursts and two male gametes are discharged. Okay, discharged. The tube nucleus which is present there in the pollen tube, the tube nucleus leave it, it's not needed. One of these male gametes fuses with the egg cell Okay, egg cell causing fertilization. And as a result, what happens? As a result, diploid zygote is formed. The other gametes fuses with the secondary nucleus forming triploid primary endosperm nucleus which is known as PEN, which later on gives rise to endosperm. As this process of fertilization is occurring twice in the same embryo sac at a time by the two male gametes, so it is known as the double fertilization. Let's recall it again. So what is nucleus? What we have got as a nucellus? Ovule contains a mass of thin ovule contains a mass of thin wall parenchymatous cells is known as nucleus. On piercing the nucellus, what happened? The pollen tube penetrates the embryo sac. Its tip penetrates in the embryo sac and reaches the egg apparatus, passing either between egg and the synergids or between. Here you see I have written in the embryo sac and reaches egg apparatus and synergids, or between one synergist and the wall of embryo. Ultimately what happens? The tip of the pollen tube bursts and the two male gametes are discharged. Then the pollen tube nucleus deorganizes before bursting of this one. One of these male gametes fuses with the egg cell or the oospore, causing fertilization, as a result of which diploid zygote is formed. The other gamete, what happens? Fuses with the secondary nucleus, forming the triploid primary endosperm nucleus, which is later known, gives rise to endosperm. And as this process of fertilization occurs twice in the same embryo sac at the same time by the two male gametes, so it is known as the double fertilization. Okay, followed? What is this? Now if I go through that significance of double fertilization, then what I have to say? The double fertilization is found in angiosperm. In angiosperms, the female gametophyte abruptly stops its growth at 8 nuclear state. That day you will remember that one. Further growth of embryo sac occurs only when the zygote has been formed and primary endosperm nucleus has been created by triple fusion. The triple fusion initiates the formation of this triple fusion initiates the formation of okay. What happens in this area? Okay, this triple fusion initiates the formation of endosperm. The endosperm is formed only when it is needed. The need rises after fertilization because the endosperm provides nutrition for simultaneous developing embryo. Because what is the main reason? This endosperm provides nutrition for the developing embryo. Okay, followed. What is this one? Acha. Then it is coming polyembryony. Then it is coming the word polyembryony. Polyembryony is the occurrence of two or more embryos. Occurrence of two or more embryos in one ovule. Okay, as followed what I have told. Now it is the outbreeding devices. You see it is there in the outbreeding devices. Outbreeding devices, that is continuous self pollination in a bisexual flowers, leads to inbreeding depression. In bisexual flowers, what happens? To discourage self pollination and to encourage cross pollination, several methods have developed. In such cases, stigma receptivity and pollen release timings may not synchronize. In some flowers, anther and stigma are present at such position that pollen fail to come in contact with the stigma of the same flowers, or other methods to check self pollination is self incompatibility. Due to this genetic mechanism, pollen grains from the same flower fails to germinate on the stigma. Production of unisexual flowers is another device. So if I go to pollen pistil interaction, if I go through to this one, so what is this? A special character of sexual reproduction in angiosperm is the interaction of the pollen grain, male gametophyte, with massive sporophytic tissue of pistil before discharging the male gametes near the egg. Only after the elucidation of the self incompatibility, the importance of pollen pistil interaction became apparent. The major function to be performed during sexual reproduction by any organism, which can be A, that will be stability of the species, and B, maintenance reasonable degree of genetic variability within species. Sexually reproducing organisms have the ability to recognize and select suitable gametes for fertilization. The function of recognition and acceptance of mating partners is at the choice of the gametes themselves. Female gametes produce chemicals to attract male gametes. In flowering plant, what happens? Female gamete is present in the embryo sac and thus seated deep inside the ovule in nucellus, which in turn is covered by the pistil to form ovary style and stigma. Pollen grains or the microspores do not have direct access to the female gamete. Then what happens? A pollen tube appears from germ pores present on the pollen grains. All the contents of the pollen grain migrate into the pollen tube. maximum growth takes place in the tip region, and cytoplasm is mostly confined to the tip region of the pollen tube. To restrict the cytoplasm to the tip of the pollen tube, calyx plugs are formed at regular intervals in pollen tube. After being deposited on the stigma, pollen grain absorbs liquid from the wet surface of the stigma, expands in size, and the intine, you know what is intine and exine? Intine is the inner layer of the pollen grain and exine is the outer layer of the pollen grain. Intine produces out through the germ pore. The stigma plays an important role in the germination of pollen grain. The stigma secretes fluid containing liquids, gums, sugars and resins. The main function of the stigmatic secretion is to protect the pollen as well as stigma from desiccation. Okay. Next one is the incompatibility. Incompatibility. Incompatibility is the inability of functional male and female gametes to affect fertilization in particular combinations. So it is the inability of functional male and female gametes to affect fertilization in particular combinations. Okay, this is the incompatibility. Acha, incompatibility is an integral part of the pollen pistil interaction because incompatibility operates between species, meaning interspecific as well as within species, that is intraspecific. In the Pheromone 1, fertilization between gametes which originate from unrelated plants is prevented. However, in the intraspecific incompatibility, fertilization is prevented between gametes which originate from the same individual and some other individuals of the same species. Intraspecific incompatibility or self-incompatibility has been reported in 300 species belonging to 20 families of the angiosperm. And self-incompatibility appears to be a biochemical reaction, but the precise nature of this reaction is not clearly understood. Self-incompatibility is a pre-fertilization barrier. Self-pollination does occur to different degrees in many self-incompatible species. It generally takes place before cross-pollination. Okay. Post-fertilization incompatibility has different physiological mechanisms from self-incompatibility. And self-incompatibility is controlled by specific genes, and pollen with a particular allele is inhibited in the pistil carrying the same alleles. Now, what is coming? Significance, relevance to self-incompatibility. What it can be? Significance. So, okay, not I'm writing this one. A, what is coming? Pollen stigma interaction. B, pollen tube style interaction. Number C, pollen tube ovule interaction. What are these? Significance, relevance to self-incompatibility. Okay, followed? Now is the parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis is what? Parthenogenesis is the You have learnt it earlier also, I do think so. This parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis is the formation of embryo directly from egg cell or a male gamete. Okay, and parthenocarpy is what? The fruit is normally formed by the stimulus of fertilization. Sometimes fruits may be developed without the act of fertilization. This is known as parthenocarpy. Parthenocarpy. Here fruits are formed without the act of fertilization. This is known as here. It may be due to two reasons. First one, A, is the stimulus of pollination, that is without fertilization may be sufficient to cause fruit formation, and B can be induced by hormones. Acha, this parthenocarpic fruit, obviously fruits are seedless. These are seedless fruit production. Remember this one always. Seedless fruit production. And what is seed? A seed is a ripened fertilized ovule. What is seed? A seed is a ripened fertilized ovule. It contains an embryonic plant reserve food and protective coat. A new generation starts with the formation of seed. Embryo or the kernel is the future plant in miniature condition. When the seed is sown in soil, a new plant appears from the embryo. In seed, metabolic activities also get suspended to pass over the unfavorable period. Okay. What is fruit? If I ask you what is fruit, then what can you say? Fruit may be defined as a mature and ripened ovary. It is a mature and ripened ovary. Okay. The stimulus of fertilization not only develops ovules into seeds but also brings about other changes in the flower. Usually all the parts of the flower except the ovary wither away. The ovary begins to enlarge simultaneously with the development of the seed and ultimately becomes the fruit. A true fruit is one. What is true fruit? Which develops from a single ovary of a single flower with no other part outside the ovary. Example, you take mango. Good example of it is. And fruit is false. What is then? False fruit? It is when other floral plants also take place, when other floral parts also take part in the of fruit, then it is known as the false fruit. Example, it is coming lychee, apple, okay, etc. Dormancy is what? Dormancy, if seed germinated at the earliest time that conditions permitted it, many would begin growth before the onset of winter, only to find themselves killed by an unfavorable climate because they had not developed fully enough to survive. For this reason, what happened? Many seeds undergo a period of dormancy before germinating. Sometimes a particular set of conditions needs to be satisfied before the seeds begin growth. This period, when the seed fails to germinate, is called this period of inactivity is called the dormancy. It may be a period of sustained cold, a set of period of time to allow certain very slow chemical processes to occur, a certain amount of light have a given intensity, partial breakdown of the seed coat, maybe of any reason. Maybe is due to dormancy, maybe a period of sustained cold. Number 2 can be a set period of time to allow certain very slow chemical processes to occur, a certain amount of light above a given intensity. Number 4, partial breakdown of the seed coat by the digestive processes of animals. Number 5 can be the heat of a flash fire. Okay, now it is coming apomixis. Apomixis is what? Apomixis is the formation of new individuals through asexual reproduction without involving the formation of fusion of gametes. And amphimixis is the formation of new individuals through the normal process of sexual reproduction by meiotic formation of gametes and the subsequent fusion during fertilization. So apomixis is the formation of new individuals through asexual reproduction without involving the formation and fusion of gametes. Okay, and amphimixis is the formation of new individuals through the normal process of sexual reproduction. Okay, that involves what? By meiotic formation of gametes and their subsequent fusion up during fertilization. So up till this, I do think so we have completed this chapter number 2. Next day we will move to chapter number 3. That is, let me see what is there in chapter 3. I have forgotten the name. That is human reproduction. It's a very big chapter. You must learn chapter number 2 very well, and if you have any problems regarding this one, then do write me in the comment box. But don't forget to chapter number 3 is coming, human reproduction. And if you find any problem regarding the understanding of chapter number 2, do comment me and let me to solve your problems. Okay, but don't forget to subscribe my channel, that is most important. And even if you want to get the notes of these lectures, you will also get it, but for then also you have to write in the comment box for this, and you will get the test series. For that, everything I will provide you right at the time. Don't get worried for this, but don't forget to subscribe my channel. So up till this today, hope you enjoyed this chapter, hope you liked this chapter, and hope you liked my lecture. So based on this one, I just like to see how many subscriptions are increasing in my channel. So have a good day, stay safe, and thank you all.